Begin tonight with an issue that's been in the national spotlight. All eyes on Ohio tonight, all because of issue 1.
It's the controversial ballot measure. It's been the subject of countless rallies and ads for months and months now. A proposal to protect reproductive rights in the Ohio state constitution. Issue 1 has clauses protecting women seeking an abortion and allows an abortion at any stage of the pregnancy as well if the woman's life is in danger. And again, leading the way with coverage on both sides of this issue.
So we begin tonight with WLWT News 5's Karen Johnson. She's live from Columbus. And Karen, I know you talked with voters who support this issue.
Yeah, that's right, Cherie. And they are telling me they are confident. You know, they've been out in neighborhoods across Ohio. They've been knocking on doors, and they tell me they're hearing from a lot of moderate Republicans who are siding with them on this one. Despite the confidence, though, issue 1 supporters in both Cincinnati and Columbus, where we were today, they did not let today go to waste. We caught up with a group outside a St. Bernard polling location who made their stance known as voters walked in. Meanwhile, in Columbus, dozens of members of Ohio United for Reproductive Rights spent the afternoon canvassing neighborhoods, handing out flyers, and talking to voters. Supporters say issue 1 is about more than abortion. It's about protecting personal medical decisions, and it should not be a partisan issue.
And we have a common goal. They're also seeing this as a huge government overreach into our personal lives, and no one wants that. So I am seeing a lot of moderate Republicans, moderate Dems, no matter what political affiliation that you have, people are voting yes on issue 1.
And members of many pro-choice groups will be gathering here at the Hyatt in downtown Columbus. We'll be bringing you live reports throughout the night. And I just got word that they're expecting up to 500 people here tonight. Reporting live in downtown Columbus, Karen Johnson, WLWT News 5.
Well, I hope that room is bigger than it appears, Karen. All right, thanks so much. Tonight, there's plenty of pushback, as you can imagine, from Catholic and pro-life organizations. The No on Issue 1 campaign telling us they're still gaining momentum.
They have plans to gather at various spots in that same city, our capital city in Ohio of Columbus, and one of them is downtown across from the State House, where WLWT News 5's John London is covering their effort tonight. John.
Yeah, and Mike, that effort was described to us today by the pro-life folks as Herculean. They've been out working the streets and door knocking, particularly in the past few weeks. The No on 1 leaders readily admitting they got a late start. They know they've been outspent, but they believe by knocking on 750,000 doors statewide, running ads, working the phones, that they've made up ground. And there's a belief they cling to that this will be a close vote tonight and will ultimately go their way. They acknowledge that they don't win the early vote. It's on Election Day itself when their power is evident, and with mild weather throughout the day, they're confident that enough No on 1 voters are turning out. Here's what the head of Ohio Right to Life tells us today after getting the what if question.
You know, the policymakers at the State House and the governor's office will decide the next political steps, but our mandate is one from a moral obligation, our faith in who we are. We are going to wake up tomorrow, whether we win or lose, and get back to work. I suspect that we're going to have to come together again as a state and have another election at some point in the future to unwind, God forbid, that the other side's successful.
What's your gut tell you about this?
It's close. We're cautiously optimistic, but it's a close race. If anyone tells you one way or the other they're not accurate, it's too close to call.
And that, of course, if this would go down, would fly in the face of what recent polling has shown. Interior polling tells the No on 1 crowd that they have got a shot on this tonight to defeat issue 1. They'll gather here at the Center for Christian Virtue behind me, just across from the State House, in a little while to watch the results. Live in Columbus, John London, WLWT News 5.
All right, John, thank you. Another big question for voters tonight. Will Ohio join 23 other states that have already legalized recreational marijuana?
So this is issue 2 on your ballot. If passed, adults 21 and up would be able to buy marijuana and grow marijuana at home, but the sales would be regulated. The amount people would be able to buy is limited, and the sales would be taxed at 10%.
All right, so over in Kentucky, another big race. It's actually a huge one, gaining national attention.
So Democrat Andy Beshear fighting to keep his seat as governor. Republican Attorney General Daniel Cameron is challenging him, trying now to flip the historically blue seat to red. While Beshear has done well, and again, sorry, in Kentucky, typically it's a red state, so Cameron wants it to become red again, I should say. So while Beshear has done very well in northern Kentucky for previous races, it is unclear if he's got enough votes to hold that seat. Last polling, though, showing that Cameron and Beshear were neck and neck here.
Yeah, WLWT News 5 anchors Ashley Kirkland and Chris Jacobs are both in Louisville tonight. They're live with us with the watch parties. Let's begin with Ashley. She's with Governor Beshear's campaign. Hi there.
Hi, Mike and Cherie. Well, tonight may come down to the wire, but that won't be anything new for Governor Andy Beshear. Last election cycle, he won the office by fewer than 5,000 votes. But this time, his message on the campaign trail that he hopes will or has resonated with Kentucky voters is the mission for the future of Kentucky. Now, Beshear has said that this race is about those kitchen table issues facing Kentuckians, creating thousands of good jobs, infrastructure, as he's touted the Brent Spence Bridge victory, and also expanding health care. His strategy has seemed to be keeping voters focused on those everyday issues and not the national issues that he says his opponent has made this race about.
It's about the fact that we're creating a record number of good jobs. It's about how we're expanding health care all across Kentucky, how we brought $500 million of clean drinking water grants, and how we're going to connect every home to high-speed internet.
So, of course, we're here in Louisville, and this part of the state, polls are closed now in Kentucky, but western part of the state, Central Time, they still have a little bit to go, and so we'll see how quickly we can get those numbers and those results in. People are already starting to pour here into Andy Beshear's watch party, guys. We'll be back live here in Louisville. Ashley Kirkland, WLWT News 5.
All right, exciting night there in Louisville. Ashley, thank you. In the meantime, we're going to stick in Louisville. Beshear's Republican opponent, the state's Attorney General in Kentucky, Daniel Cameron, hoping his efforts to bring out the party's base, the Republican base, will pay off.
And WLWT News 5 anchor Chris Jacobs live for us also in Louisville covering the Cameron campaign. Hi, Chris.
Yeah, guys, and he's hoping that base comes out in part because of Donald Trump, the former president, appearing in his most recent campaign ads. And right now he's supporting Cameron. He's making history either way, and when Cameron won the Republican primary for Kentucky governor, he became the first major party black nominee for governor in the state's history. Now, right now, the stage is set for what Cameron hopes is a big upset. The polls just closing a few minutes ago, but recent polling numbers have people asking how big of an upset this could actually be. Cameron making up some big ground in the last 30 days, a 14-point comeback. Both Cameron and Beshear were polling at 47 points in the most recent Emerson College poll. The Republican candidate cast his vote here in Louisville this morning. He spoke with reporters on some last-minute messaging.
And, obviously we've had a robust campaign, but if you want leadership in this state that is going to reflect your values, going to eliminate Kentucky's income tax, going to get violent crime under control, make sure we never shut down our schools, our small businesses, or our churches again, I hope you vote Daniel Cameron today.
Again, those polls in Kentucky closing just about 5 or 6 minutes ago, so we should be seeing those numbers coming in here pretty soon. Reporting live in Louisville, Chris Jacobs, WLWT News 5.
Chris, thanks so much. So one of the big stories is not a presidential election year,
right,
but voter turnout's been amazing on both sides of the river. Seen a lot of people showing up.
Yes, so in Kentucky, that governor's race has been a big draw there. WLWT News 5's Rachel Hersheimer live for us tonight in Covington, where polls are shutting down again. They shut down already, but anyone in line could still vote. Rachel, are we seeing turnout? How's the turnout there? And is it what those campaigns were expecting?
Well, Mike and Cherie, election officials certainly think so. Today, around 5:50, we were still seeing cars driving into this parking lot, people jumping out of their cars and running through those doors that are now closed just to make sure they were able to cast their ballot. But now that it is past 6 o'clock, the polls in Kentucky have closed. Earlier today, we were driving around Covington and Kenton County talking to voters. They said voting today in Kentucky was quick and easy. It only took about 5 minutes. We also spoke with an election official here at this church who said he's been doing this for 30 years. Usually he has to encourage people to get out and vote, but this year was different. People were just doing it on their own. There were a lot of issues on the ballots that people were passionate about. But now that it is past 6 o'clock, the polls in Kentucky have closed, and now it's time to count those votes. Live tonight in Covington, Rachel Hersheimer, WLWT News 5.
All right, Rachel, thanks for the update there. To Ohio now, both issues 1 and 2 really bringing out voters, both in early voting and now on this election day.
Still a little more than an hour or so, an hour and 20 minutes, in fact, to cast your ballot if you haven't already in the state of Ohio. And if you're in line by 7:30, you can still vote. WLWT News 5 anchor Lindsay Stone is live tonight in East Price Hill with the latest there. Hi, Lindsay.
Hi, Mike and Cherie. Yeah, it's been very steady. We've definitely seen a push in the last hour or so as more people have gotten off of work. And yes, just over an hour left to cast your ballots. Now, let's take a look now at voter turnout throughout greater Cincinnati. We're seeing in Hamilton County right now, 256,000 people have voted already. That's nearly 43%. And in Butler County, it's more than 104,000 ballots cast so far. That's about 41%. Over in Warren County, more than 81,000 voters have made their choices. That is more than 47% overall. So again, plenty of time to get out to the polls. They close at 7:30, and of course we'll bring you coverage from what those results are throughout the evening. But for now, here in Price Hill, Lindsay Stone, WLWT News 5.